As new details continued to emerge in the gruesome kidnapping of Jayme Closs, a relative of the 13-year-old says she was not prepared to learn the truth. Countless questions weighed on Jodie Arnold's mind in the months after the bodies of Denise, her cousin, and Jayme Closs were found shot to death, and their daughter went missing on October 15, 2018 in Barron, Wisconsin. Now that Jayme has returned home and her alleged captor, 21-year-old Jake Thomas Patterson, is behind bars, Arnold is finding that the reality is far worse than she could have imagined. "I was not prepared," she told People. The criminal complaint filed against Patterson details his confession to cops that he decided Jayme was the girl he was going to take after a changed sighting of her getting on the school bus when it stopped in front of him as he drove to work. On the night of October 15, he stole his father's shotgun, donned a balaclava face mask and 2 pairs of gloves, and drove to the home to carry out his plan. As he approached the front door under cover of darkness, Patterson saw Jayme's father, James, standing in a large window. Jayme told detectives that she had been woken by her dog Molly barking and noticed somebody coming up the driveway when she went to investigate. She woke her parents and her father went to the door to see what was going on. Patterson claimed that he yelled at Jayme Closs to get on the ground, but that he kept shining a flashlight and looking outside while pounding on the door. Peering through the window, Jayme Closs asked to see his badge, assuming he was law enforcement. In that moment, Patterson said, he raised his shotgun, pointed it at Jayme Closs's head, and pulled the trigger. Jayme is described in the complaint as having significant trauma to his face and head. After hearing the gunshots, Denise Closs called the police and took her daughter into the bathroom to hide. Arnold said she had long hoped that her cousin's death was quick, perhaps while she was sleeping. She was horrified to learn that the 46-year-old spent her final moments in undeniable terror as she prayed that she and her daughter wouldn't be discovered. In a terrifying scene, Patterson shoved the bathroom door open and tore down the shower curtain, taking the rod with it, and found Denise with her arms wrapped around Jayme in a bear hug. Patterson told Denise to place black duct tape over her daughter's mouth, but when she struggled to do that, he put down his shotgun, took back the tape, and wrapped it around Jayme's mouth and head. He made the teen stand up while he took and placed tape around her wrists with her palms together to restrain her hands and arms. Patterson then taped her ankles, removed her from the tub, and, as she stood beside him, he took aim at her mother's head and pulled the trigger. Denise's last thoughts were probably, "My daughter is next," Arnold said. "It makes me so heartbroken. It just wrecks me. When somebody dies, it just feels a million times worse when their last thoughts are of utter despair and terror. I had been hoping it had happened so fast that it wasn't time for her to understand." Share this article. Share. Arnold has been haunted by the gruesome, blood and brain-spattered scene described in the criminal complaint in the week since it was released. The gunshot to the head left Denise with the rear backside of her head and skull plate completely removed and lying next to her body in the bathtub. "I wanted to know. I had to know to give myself some closure. Unfortunately, with some closure came a whole new level of terror for me as a mom," Arnold said. "I lock my doors at night, but that's not good enough. If somebody wants in," she continued. Denise did everything she could. They were barricaded in the bathroom hiding. When you're in your house, you do feel safe. That guy had a mission and there was nothing stopping that. Mothers everywhere are feeling extra protective of their kids. She also pointed out the grim reality that even if she laid down her life to protect her own children, as Denise and James did, it doesn't necessarily mean they'll be safe. "Yes, I will die for my kids, but then you realize that doesn't mean my kids are going to be okay," she said. After the cold-blooded murders, Patterson threw Jayme in the trunk of his car and drove her to his home in Gordon, Wisconsin, about 70 miles away. For nearly 3 months he kept her in a space under his twin-sized bed and concealed her from view. She tried to escape at least twice, leading Patterson to throw a tantrum, hitting the wall and screaming to make her fearful to try to leave again. On the day of her escape, he told her he was leaving for a few hours. She stumbled out of the home on Thursday, January 10th, and approached a woman walking her dog in Eau Claire Acres in Gordon, telling her she was kidnapped and her abductor killed her parents. The woman took her to a neighbor's house where they called police. Patterson was arrested the same day and charged with 2 counts of first-degree homicide, 1 count of kidnapping and 1 count of armed burglary, according to the complaint. He is being held at Barron County Jail. Arnold watched his Monday court appearance on the news. She said, "That was hard, just to see this guy. You feel like it's happening all over again."